Good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. I'm Paul Clark, and today we're going to look at the very first steps needed for starting in line and wash. So let's get going. With line and wash, sometimes referred to as pen and wash, some of you may be thinking, whoa, doesn't really sound like my thing. But just hang on a second. When I do my weekly classes, I usually reserve 1 week for line and wash. Now, for students who've never tried it before, usually a bit apprehensive, but I can assure you they nearly always love it. In fact, I have several students now who only paint in line and wash, so it's definitely worth a try. So before we start, I'm just going to run through very quickly some of the materials you're going to need and some of the basic techniques. Okay, so let's start with the line. A good old pencil can work really well. I would suggest a 3 or 4B to get a good dark line. And of course, it's not going to bleed. Here is my painting using mainly a pencil to create the line work. Next, and most popular, is a waterproof or permanent marker pen. You can get these in all different sizes. They're super convenient to use and give a really nice solid line. And as the name would suggest, they don't bleed. This was done with a 0.5 fine liner pen. Moving on, we have a simple black ballpoint pen. Fantastic for sketching, and you can get some really lovely shading. And again, it won't bleed. This was done in situ using my trusty Bic Biro. Finally, is where we use black ink. Indian ink works really well, but it must be bleed proof. So we can use a dipping pen, which usually comes with a variety of different nibs to try, or the best value of all is a stick from the garden, carved to a point. Oh look, there's a good one. I had this great idea for a money-making scam selling sticks in a set, but then I thought I'll never get away with that. So with the dip pen you get a lovely fluid line, and with the stick, what I love about it in particular is that as the ink runs out on the paper you get this beautiful sort of textured effect. Wait for it to dry before adding your wash. So when it comes to drawing your lines, try not to be too neat and precise like this. At the end of the day, we're not trying to produce an engineering drawing. Give your line work some wobble, don't connect everything up, and just try and get some character and life into your drawing. So before we move on, I just wanted to show you an interesting technique I discovered quite by accident when I used the wrong pen. To demonstrate this, I've drawn this little bunny in a permanent marker. Then with this Pentel ultra-fine pen, which isn't bleed proof, I'm drawing in a few areas here and there. Then I'm using my watercolour straight away, and what you can see is in the places I've used the Pentel, it's started to bleed, but it's given a lovely soft edge to the black line. Here in the grass, I'm only using it, and again you get this interesting blurry effect. Now we're going to talk about the wash. You can use your watercolours in the conventional way, but also inks or even acrylics watered down can work, as long as it's transparent. In this quick demo, I'm going to show you the 2 different approaches you can take to line and wash. Start by sketching out your subject in pencil, and then you can take the route of painting it in the conventional way. And when it's dry, you can then add your line work. I'm using a permanent marker here. Or you can go my preferred route and do the drawing work first, so it stands alone as a finished drawing. Then you can add your wash. What is important is you don't get into a colouring book mode, simply filling in the shapes. You can work a lot quicker and a lot looser, as it really doesn't matter if the colours start to bleed into each other, as it's the line work which keeps the definition. When it's dry, you can always add detail later with your pen. For this next technique, we're going to be a lot looser and a lot freer, and we're going to be using our stick. I'll be using a number 12 stick. So the paper I'm using is some Arches Rough, which will help to give the sketchy feel that I'm after. I've done a loose pencil sketch first, then I've gone in straight away with my stick and ink. You'll find that you'll have to dip into your ink quite often, but I do love how when the ink begins to run out on the paper you get this lovely textured broken line. The quicker and more confident you can get, the more the line work will look exciting and spontaneous. Now for the painting. I'm using just 2 brushes, my trusty number 12 round and a 3/4 inch flat. For paints I'm just using my normal watercolours. Please feel free to use whatever colours you want. To start with, I'm dropping in some clean water and using my flat brush. I'm painting the sky around the boat shape. If you're interested, I've produced a video on painting a boat very similar to this in pure watercolour. Link is in the description below, or you can click on the link which should appear top right sometime about now. Try and keep your washes nice and watery and transparent. Always remember that if your wash is too light, you can always paint another layer or glaze on top once it's dry, but you can't lighten a wash that you've painted too dark. A quick dab out with a tissue to create a highlight. I'm dropping in some red Wet n Wet to match the stripe on the boat. When it's totally dry, you can then add any further detail with your ink. This is where we may be in danger of overworking it, so keep detail to a minimum. Of course, we need to add a few seagulls. Sound effects, please. And a little bit of white gouache for the reflection of the white hull. I think we're done. Just need to sign it. So there we have it. Line and wash. I really hope you give it a go. It's great fun. I'm going to leave you now with a few line and washes that I've done over the years. If you've enjoyed the video, please like. Please subscribe and hope to see you all again soon. So take care. Bye for now.